I'm Kirsten, the Problem Solving Teacher and Teachers Pay Teachers author. If you like my videos, please remember to like and subscribe, leave a comment below. Whenever you do any of those things, it helps other teachers like you find my videos and lets them get the same benefits that you've gotten. All right, today we are going to be talking about some things that you should do before you start your Teachers Pay Teacher store, or as you're starting your Teachers Pay Teacher store. And if you haven't done these things, don't worry, it's not too late. You can still go back and check it out. So these things are kind of thinking long-term big game. So some people who start their Teachers Pay Teacher store simply want their store to be a little bit of a side hobby. Maybe they want it to just make a little money on resources so that they can buy resources for their classroom. There is nothing wrong with any of that. If it is just a little side hustle for you, a hobby, these tips could still help you because you never know what you're going to do down the road. But this is more directed towards knowing that at some point you want to turn this into a business. Okay, so the first thing you want to do as you're starting your Teachers Pay Teacher store, getting ready to start it, is think about your niche. You want to know what your focus is going to be. What big problem are you going to solve for teachers? It could be a specific subject, it could be a way that you manage the classroom, it could be the students that you help. So think about all of the things that teachers have to do in their day and what you're really good at. If you want to learn all about niches, you can watch my last video. My last video was all about trying to figure out your niche, and it can give you some helpful tips for doing that. Once you kind of know your niche, you know who you are as a teacher, like what things you're really good at, it is time to start to think about your brand. Okay, so first you need to make sure you know what your niche is, and then you want to start to think about your brand. And that's what a lot of this is going to be about. So once you know your niche, you're going to start to think about your brand. Your brand is the colors that you like, the logo that you have, who you're trying, what your niche is encompassing, and all of those little things. There are lots of big brands out there, and you know them well. You know Under Armour by the X, you know Nike by the Swish, you know NFL football, Sunday Night Football by their song. So there are lots of different brands who have done a lot of work to make you recognize them. And you are going to be creating your own brand that is recognizable to others. But it takes a lot of work. You may have remembered that the NFL, the Washington football team, they changed their name recently. They had to get rid of their old name because many people thought that it was culturally insensitive and that it was time to come into 2022 with a new name and a new identity. So they are rebranding themselves. They're this huge football team that is rebranding themselves. They took a temporary name for a couple of years while they underwent the process of making some of these decisions about what this new brand is going to encompass. So it should take you some time to sit back and pick out your brand. And because somebody gave me this advice when I was starting my store, I did this. I floated around some ideas for branding, and I asked my family, and I thought about what I liked, and I tried to come up with what I wanted to be a brand for me. So you're going to take some time to do that. So the first thing you're going to do is you are going to think about your niche. Then you are going to think about who you are as a teacher. What are you really good at? So I'm the problem-solving teacher. I'm really great at stepping into a problematic solution and solving it. I've stepped into so many classrooms as a long-term sub, as a temporary sub, and just took over and did my thing. A lot of times as a coach, people would tell me, oh, can you cover this class? They're kind of a terrible class. They're really hard to work with. I'd step in there and I'd be like, I don't know what the big deal is. If people tell me about a problem, I can usually come up with some sort of solution, some ways to work around it. And it's not always the first try, but usually you can get there. So I thought about that as, you know, there's a lot of people who have a problem, especially during the 2020 pandemic. I started doing some tutoring too under this name, and, you know, parents had a problem of what to do with the education of their child. And I thought, hey, I can be that problem-solving teacher that they're looking for. So that's kind of where I came up with my brand name. For my colors, you're probably going to want to pick out some colors for your brand. I simply picked pink because I like pink, and then I thought about what color I wanted to contrast that, and I picked like a teal because I thought it was good, and then I just kept it as simple black and white. So you're going to think about what colors you might like, what you're about. I also kind of have sunflowers as part of my brand because that's my favorite flower. So I looked at who I was and some of the things I liked, and I kind of took that and put it all together. Now, once I had come up with, I literally came up with at least 30 different possible names and like 30 different things that I could like be like, well, what if I took this and this and put it together? Would that be a good name? So I put like adjectives and like words with teacher and like all sorts of things, and I kind of put them together, and the problem solving teacher is what I settled on. But once you pick your name, that's not it. You're not done. You have to check a whole bunch of places to see if you can take that name. So the first place you need to check is Teachers Pay Teachers. So you can go to the website, you type it in the little search bar, the problem solving teacher, and you see what comes up, and you're going to look not under the resources that you're possibly looking for, but you're going to look under the sellers, and you want to see if there's any sellers with that name. Then you're not done there. Then you need to check the domain availability. And again, this is more if you are interested in building a business and going bigger long term. Even if right now you're like, hey, this is just a hobby, you want to think, you know what, in 5 years, I might want this to be a business. So check out domain availability. That means like going to GoDaddy or someplace like that and seeing if the domain is available. So you just have to go, you type in the domain, and it will tell you if it's available. You don't have to purchase it yet. You just want to see if it's there so that if you want to down the road, you can. Then you are going to go to a business website, a government website, to see if there's a business with that name. So it's usually the Secretary of State, where you can type in business names and see if that business is available in your state. The state level is what's really important right now. So you want to type that into your Secretary of State site. They should have a list. You're looking to see if there's a corporation with that name. You type it in and you see if it's available. Next, you want to do an internet search. That's right, just go to Google, type whatever you want your store name to be, and type it in and see if somebody already has it, because you don't want brand confusion happening later on down the road. You just want to make sure that there's not somebody else out there that is using it, which you should know from the domain availability, but you want to just double check anyway. And then you want to check social media. This is kind of like, you can always like fudge social media. You could be like the problem solving teacher 2020, you know, you could put something else in there. But I recommend that you check, and when you see that it is available on social media, even if you're not going to do anything with it, like check Facebook, check Instagram, check TikTok, even if you're not going to do a single thing with social media yet, still snatch up that name so nobody else can take it down the road. All right, the final thing that you want to do before you start your TpT store, as you're starting it, is you want to create a logo. There are several different ways that you can go about creating a logo, okay? You can attempt to create your own logo in PowerPoint, okay? Or Canva. Canva is great because they'll give you some images that are okay for you to use. Check the terms of use before you go through with that, but you should be able to use them as part of your logo, but check your terms of use on Canva. So you can take your designs and put them together to create a logo. I actually tried to do mine in PowerPoint, and I showed it to my sister and she said it was terrible, and she said send me your stuff, and then she made it really pretty for me. So the other place that you can go to get a logo done for you is Fiverr. On Fiverr, you can hire somebody to make a personalized logo for you. You can give them the specs of what you want, the specific items of what you want in your logo, and let somebody else create it for you. Or you can go to Etsy. There are people on Etsy who do something similar. There are also a few clip artists on Teachers Pay Teachers who will do this for you. A lot of people will go to them and ask them to make logos for them, and then they really like what comes out of it. So here, there's two for you I have for you here. Golly Miss Molly is really, really well known for making logos. People rave about how well she does it. And Haley at a Latte Learning. So a latte learning, like the coffee. So there are different places you can go to make a logo if you're like, I shouldn't even try to do it myself. Let me see what it is. So all of these different places will have different price points, but it will give you a logo, because your logo should go on every resource that you have. It should go on your store, or a picture of yourself, or something should go right there on your store as part of your brand. It will go on your website. So you're going to need a logo at some point. So you need to take a look at what you can do to have a logo. So those are the places. And then finally, sign up as a seller on TpT. So I was just a purchaser, a customer. I originally was just like buying things off of TpT, and then I had to switch my account to a seller account. So that's the final step, is, you know, when you find out that your name is available in all of those places, go back to Teachers Pay Teachers and convert your account to a seller account and put your store name on there. And then you are set to go and start uploading resources. All right, I hope you found this video very helpful for thinking about some of the things you should do as you dive into a Teachers Pay Teachers business, and that you have some great ideas on what you're gonna do to get your store going, your store name and your logo and your brand moving. All right. That's it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you're thinking about for your brand, and have an awesome day.